In this video, I'll break down the changes Meta made in 2025 and the exact strategy I've used to guide 200 plus businesses to profitable ads. So where do we start? Well, let's start with the past, before 2025. And I would even correct that slightly more by saying I've seen a lot of these changes since March, April. We're in a very fast moving marketplace at the moment. All of the platforms, Meta, TikTok, everyone's changing very quickly. They've got to keep their profits going. At the same time, they've got to get results for advertisers. More important than the advertisers, even though 95% comes from advertising feeds to Meta's profits, they still have to have the user. And that user and how that user is taking its content is what is changing the way the world works and how this platform works and how people are taking their content. So what I want to do is I'm going to go through this and we're going to be basically talking over exactly what's going on, and I'm going to show you how we can make things better. So success came from hacks and micro targeting. What I mean by that is the audiences are what created the success of ads. Okay. And this was running until probably 2 years ago. And very slowly over the last 12 months, 18 months, things have then started changing and speeding up very quickly. So what happens is 5 years ago, we had lookalikes, we had audience interests and things like that. Meta made it very simple for an advertiser to win. They even made marketers lazy. You would build a demographic in your audience, which is in your ad set category. And then that would break down into demographics, interests, custom audiences and things like that. And you could layer up the perfect avatar or your perfect ideal customer. And to give you an idea, the first ads that I ran for a client was a CrossFit gym. It was actually a CrossFit gym that I had a slight ownership with. So I had an invested interest to try and grow this gym. And we had 20 members and it was kind of going out of business and we needed to grow that. By using Facebook ads and using the way the audience was able to be created, I was able to get that up to 80 members in 3 months. So it completely changed the business. And that was because I was able to stack and choose interests that were really viable to what I was doing, which was a CrossFit gym. I would even be able to choose CrossFit athletes. And CrossFit, I don't know if any of you do CrossFit, but CrossFit's a pretty niche market. Those top athletes would actually be in Meta. It would be people who liked Matt Fraser, who was one of the athletes at the time. So by choosing Matt Fraser and then overlaying, so they like Matt Fraser and they must like CrossFit and they must like fitness, would bring down our audience to say 500,000 in the UK. We would have a mediocre ad. It was a picture of a lady in a CrossFit gym doing a kettlebell lift or something like that. And it said, get your free trial. Okay. So we're still calling out to the particular ideal customer, but we had this amazing audience of 500,000 and we just got lead after lead after lead. That's been running like that for 10 to 15 years. Okay. So us as advertisers were able to become lazy. I mean, at that point, we didn't really have a Canva. So we could just literally go into Photoshop. We could do some editing on photo. Maybe not. I think I would have put a call to action on there just because I come from a copywriting background and email marketing background. So I knew that I had to call out to that customer. But if I hadn't have done that, people were winning all the time. Drop shippers, all sorts of businesses could spend a lot of money on ads and win. So that leads us to this point here. People ran 5 to 20 ad sets to find a winner. And I know from the questions that come into my school community that people are still concentrated on building an audience because they think that's going to be the winner. And the mentality of the past few years has been, I'll just do that ad and then I'll just place that into different audiences. And we could build 5 to 10, 20, if you've got a lot of budget, 20 plus ad sets, all with different audiences. It might have fitness on its own. It might have fitness plus CrossFit. It might have the example earlier of fitness, CrossFit, and Matt Fraser. And we would be building and stacking all these different audiences with the same kind of lame creative, and it would be getting us results. And if an audience didn't work, we'd switch it off. That's where I need your mentality to change in the way that we do things. I need you to not be lazy. It's really easy to just duplicate an ad set, change the audience, and get results. Okay. It's not that easy anymore. So We would also constantly test audiences, as I just mentioned. We would look at placements. We would look at lookalikes. So I would go into so many client accounts where we would start seeing that there's a lookalike audience, or that there's a placement which is just stories and reels. Now, there is still a place for that. I actually only this week set up an ad for someone where we are just going to stories and reels, but it was only out of the choice that the particular vertical image that we created wasn't sitting right when we did it as a square. And we knew that if we did it on feeds, it just wouldn't work right. And we set it up in this way to see if it would work. But it's something that I rarely do. So the shift now and going forward, really important. Meta's AI now handles targeting and optimization better than humans. Fact. And I'm going to show you an example of Advantage Plus in my own ads manager, just to show you some of the differences or not so differences. And that's going to come up in a minute. But where we're talking about AI here, I'm going to introduce you to this. This is Meta Andromeda, supercharging Advantage Plus, which we all know, we've all heard about, automation with the next generation personalized ads retrieval game. Basically, I think you've probably all heard of NVIDIA. So NVIDIA Grace Hopper Superchip is going to be put into the Facebook algorithm. It's going to take Advantage Plus to another level. And you may have heard that Mark Zuckerberg is talking about the future, inverted commas, the future of Facebook advertising, and the fact that we are going to let the algorithm choose our audience. And that's kind of happening at the moment. I foresee the fact that where we go in to choose our interests won't happen anymore, and we will be relying on this. Now, Mark's taking it another step away by him saying, tell us how much you want to win a client for, give us some money, and we'll do the rest, i.e. it will look at your website, it will look at certain things. I'm still on the fence with that. I'm excited the fact that we don't have to go and build audiences, and it is going to be really good at knowing exactly when someone, so my example of Facebook advertising, it knows that someone is in Ads Manager having problems because the algorithm has picked up on certain things they're doing in Ads Manager that constitute that they're having problems. So that might help me in the fact that when I'm putting an ad out saying, hey, you're struggling with Facebook advertising, they know exactly the person at the right time who's going to engage with my ad and join my school. I think it's an amazing scenario. Where the creative that I falls down is, because I work with a lot of brands, I haven't had a brand yet say that they would be comfortable in allowing Meta just to do whatever it liked, okay? Simply because they're saying that they'll take the brand colors and things like that. But I just think there are too many guidelines of a business, most businesses, that will end up allowing someone like Meta just to carry on and do what you like. There are definitely industries, drop shipping and things like that, and small businesses for services, etc., who go, I don't really care how you get it, as long as you're not breaking any rules or swearing at anyone, being rude. If you can get me those leads, that's absolutely brilliant, and I think that's great. So this is basically an example of Meta's AI, which is going to be on steroids at some point. We don't know when this is going to happen. We don't know how long it's going to take to get there, but it's going to happen. Creative and messaging, 80% of success. Now, that's going to increase, because if we're now going to just run Advantage Plus and it's read our URL, it's looked at our video, it's listened and watched our video, it's seen the text, it's looked at everything that's going on, this is just going to increase, because we're not going to be touching our audience at all. We're just going to be leaving it to it. But we have to call out in our creative to our ideal customer as best we can. Audience stacking, detailed targeting is going to become largely irrelevant. Simple structures, strong creative. And I'm going to show you a simple structure that I run in our own account. And it is really simple. Where all this becomes hard for people is the fact that you have to start thinking about your creative. And that's the bit that's harder. So faster, cheaper, more predictive scaling. So if you want to learn more about building Facebook ads and fixing what is not currently working, I share it in my free community. Click on the link in the description to join, completely free. So the playbook, steps I use: start with a broad audience and let AI optimize. If I was to look back at my podcast and some videos and things that I'd done probably only 4 months ago, I would have probably disagreed with my statement here. I'd still like to test doing some interest-based. This is how quickly it's changed. I've even got client accounts where I'm still heavily using lookalikes. I'm heavily using interest-based. I'm also going broad, and I'm also going Advantage Plus. I'm using all the strategies that we've been using for 5 years in this one account. And the reason for that is because their spend's quite high. So they're spending quite a lot of money. And I feel through working on that account for 3 years, if I was to go to a full Advantage Plus structure, like I'm going to show you my own account, if I was to do that now, I think it would fall over. But But any new accounts I'm working with, anything I'm training now, I will go to the new way that we're optimizing our ads now. So I'm saying to you, if you're new into Facebook advertising or you're trying to find what's working and how to fix things, start with a broad audience, which is essentially your Advantage Plus. You don't have to go as far as Advantage Plus. You might want to change your age group to be 30-year-olds or 30 plus, 30 up to 60. That's absolutely fine. And you might want to change the gender. That's absolutely fine. But when we talk about broad, we are taking out all the interests that are in there. Okay. Build scroll stopping creative that speaks to your ideal customer. This is a hard one because it takes us time. We have to think. And all I can say is to that is thank God we've got ChatGPT, because that takes away so much of the time that we don't have to worry as much, okay? It really helps you without having to start with a blank piece of paper. You can go in there and you can create your own project based around your business, and you can do this on a free account, and you can start describing what your business is, prompting it about your business, prompting it about your ideal customer, all the different prompts that would go into that, just talking about yourself and your business and your ideal customer, and it can help you write really, really good hooks. And then you can just do things where you are changing the length of hook. So a headline, for instance, when you're building your ad and you've got your primary text, which Facebook did used to say up until about 6 months ago that it needs to be up to 250 characters. That's been scrapped now because I think they've realized that long copy is actually good. Now your headline box actually starts missing characters after 50 characters. So one of my biggest tips is if you're going to write some headline hooks, ask ChatGPT to make them 50 characters long, which means it will fit nicely in. So when you actually publish your ad, you're not going to be cutting off. The thing that I see working really well, and I'm going to show you my ads, is how we can just put over some simple text overlay over the top of a standard video of me talking to camera about getting to that ideal customer. Okay. So are you struggling with Facebook ads? Join my free school community where I can help you fix them within 30 days. Someone is going to read that rather than just watching the video, because we're finding that people only watch a video for about 5 seconds and only about 5 to 10% get to the end. So we want to make sure that our scroll stopping creative and hooks is the most important part, is in the 5 seconds. It's easier said than done. I completely understand that. But the more you do it, the more you practice it, the more it's going to be complete normal. The more Canva templates you're going to have that you just set up, and you can just change things and move things around, which you'll see on my account. Track and optimize based on real business KPIs, not vanity metrics. And, you'll notice in my free community, we have a couple of modules where it's setting up your metrics in Ads Manager for lead generation and for e-commerce. And that's because we want to look for bottlenecks as we're going down. So your ad goes live, it publishes, it gets impressions, it gets reach impressions, and then you get a frequency. That's really important because we want to make sure the reach and the impressions is about the same. If the impression starts creeping up to 2 times the amount of people we've reached, we start finding that our frequency goes up. We don't really want frequencies to go up. We want to keep them below 2. Then we move into our link clicks. How many of those impressions turn into link clicks? And from those link clicks, how many of those people opened the form? What percentage opened the form or filled out the form? And we're looking for these metrics all the time. And then we're looking for the metrics afterwards. If a lead comes in, how many of those leads convert to a call, or how many of those leads convert to starting a free trial? Understanding those metrics have always been there. They always will be there, and they won't go away. We need to understand those, and that's definitely something that you want to pay attention to. The outcome: campaigns hit profitability faster. They're predictable, scaling across e-com, lead gen, and service business, and 200 businesses already using this playbook in my own business successfully. Okay, so let's jump into an ads manager here. So I want to show you how what we've been just talking about on the structure of an ad account and why Advantage Plus may or may not work for you right now, even though I've said it is the future and I want you to go broad. So here we have 2 ads, both using Advantage Plus. And here we have one ad, which is social media marketing with a creative split. Okay, so this is the original ad, still running now, but this is an original ad where I've taken different videos. So I've got video 1, video 6, video 11, and 2 statics. And all of these went into one ad set using social media. So you can see here that I've actually gone for an interest. I haven't gone straight into an Advantage Plus. I've gone into an interest group, which is social media marketing. I've left it dynamic creative off because I haven't had the need to do dynamic creative at this point in time because I'm not putting them in one ad. I want to test them all separately. It went at the same time. And you can see here, we're on a maximum here. So this spent £558. This one at the bottom spent £14.18, didn't get any leads. £14.46 got one. 22 got one. £4.17 got two. And we've got a winner up here, which was number six video got 101 people coming in for £4.98. Now, you could settle for that and go, yeah, I'm happy with that. But we're advertisers and we want to get our lead costs as cheap as possible. So I then took this particular video and created another ad set. Now, I decided then to go for an Advantage Plus. I've then gone back into Canva and I've taken that video and I've just made some simple iterations of it. So if I go into preview here and show you these iterations, let's go to the first one. So I'm going to press play. You may or not hear this, but the sound is exactly the same. What we're wanting to do here is look at what the actual hook is. So struggling with Facebook ads, this free group is where things finally click. That piece of text is the same text on all of these videos. The only difference is here that I've got an arrow pointing down to it. Okay. Number two, struggling with Facebook ads, this free group is where things finally click. All we've done is enhance the coloring and the font of struggling with Facebook ads. So it calls out to our ideal customer. People coming into my community, I want to be having problems. If they're all stupidly successful with Facebook ads, I can't help. So we want to really shout out about this bit. Then we've got number three, which is struggling with Facebook ads. This free group is where things finally click. A little bit of an error there. Well, it's sitting a little bit lower. As I look back on this now, probably done with that being a little bit higher, so it looks a bit cleaner. And then we've got a fourth one, which is where we're just struggling with Facebook ads, but we've just highlighted the free group here. Okay, nothing else has changed. I've not changed any copy at the top. I've not changed the headline. All I'm wanting to do is test out these. And you can see here that this one with the arrow is the one that won. It's, again, spent £383 for that ad. The lead cost is coming at £6, a little bit higher. I'm constantly trying to get this lead cost down. But these ads have spent £7, £2.43, and you can see here. Now, the importance of this is that if we had only, if I go back to this one, and this is what I think, this is what most advertisers do. If I just built a campaign and only used one video, and that video just happened to be this one or this one, my ads wouldn't have been anywhere near as successful as they are now. Because this one, I mean, we're saying £2 a lead, but it's only spent £4. So that is just literally low hanging fruit. It's attracted some people in really quickly. They've got 2 leads and then it's kind of died out. But I would say that this one could be worth trying again because it did okay at the beginning. It may have just got overtaken by video 6. So moral of the story, if we'd done that video, we probably would have had a failing campaign. And when I go on to client calls and they show me their ads manager, this is by far the most common thing. They've built a campaign, they've got an ad set going to an interest group. They've probably made that interest group really tight with lots of different stacked interests on it because they're watching old videos, or they said, I did this 3 years ago. I hear this a lot. They've come back into starting the Facebook ads and they're just doing the same things they used to do. It fails. We need to test some creatives here. Now, this doesn't take a lot of time to create these videos. The second test here really doesn't take a lot of time. I've literally gone in. I've not really put any thought to this. We've just literally changed a few things to do with that we think. There's no right or wrong of what you might think you should do or shouldn't do. Just do it. Just come on a call with someone just now who was like, oh, I said they'd done a video. I thought it looked great. I thought the first 3 seconds just needed like a bit of a before and after. It's an AI app. And I said, well, just do what I've done. It said, oh, and then do we just chuck out the last one? I was like, no, just test the last one. It might work. We're just putting in different iterations. The final part is, and I've got another one here. This is just another final test here. This is starting off with a different hook. So struggling with Facebook ads, POV, you're free, you join a free group. POV, you even thought. So we've just got slightly different text overlay on these. And again, these two won. So we haven't found an absolute winner. These two are just working really nicely side by side. So the perfect way to structure this going forward, and I wanted to save this part for this training, is that I would then create a master one. And that master one will look something like this. So I'm just going to create this one here. I'm duplicating that ad. And the reason I'm duplicating it is that I just don't have to start from scratch again. So let's call this our master ad set. And this is where we're going to start scaling our ads in this group, but we're only going to put winners in here. Now, I know from looking at this one, because I've duplicated, it was Facebook one that worked. So that's our winning ad. So I'm going to go into this master ad set. I'm going to take out these because they've shown to me so far that they haven't worked. So we're going to delete them. There we go, delete button. And then we're going to go back into the other ad sets. And in this one, I've got two that are working. These two. You can see what I was saying earlier about how draft gets pulled through. So these two are working. If I go here and we duplicate these two into an existing campaign, and that existing campaign is called master ad set. Should show you how easy this is. Duplicate. We have now put those other two into our master ad set. Publish. Like that. It says copy at the end, so we know which ones they are. So if we now go into master, when it loads, okay, we've got master ad set. And in that master ad set, if this loads, you can see our three ones. So I would probably take those out and I won't do it now, but I'll take out the copies, tidy it up. So we now have a master set with proven, that one just needs to be, and I'm actually going to keep this running, guys. This is, I saved this for this particular presentation. So you see how I do it. So this particular campaign now, we've got a master ad set, all processing. On this one, we could turn that spend up. So I'm not going to do it loads. Let's say we just do 20 a day on that one. Now, question I got asked on a call earlier today is, what do we do with the winning creatives in these other ad sets? Now, ideally, what we want to do is replace with this one. But what I don't want you to do straight away is turn these off by going, oh, I've built my master ad set, I've turned it to 20 pounds a day. I'll turn off all these because the winners out. Just let these roll, because what we don't want to do in the first 3 days or 7 days of this ad set, it needs to optimize and find its place. So you might find that the cost per registration is higher up here because it's starting to optimize. Only when this actually proves its worth and we've got a nice £3-4 cost per registration, that I'll then go and turn these off. Otherwise, if I turn these off now and this takes some time or has a problem with it or something like that because it's brand new, I'll be gutted because these two would have failed. Okay, so that is how I would do that. So the outcome, campaigns hit profitably faster, predictable scaling across e-com, lead gen and service business. You can do that on all these types of business, the same structure, same type of call outs, things like that. And 200 businesses already using this playbook successfully this year. So I currently have 2 spots open to work with me one-to-one to achieve profitable ads. If you're curious, there's a link to apply for my 30-minute ads review call in the description below. First come, first served. Lessons learned, stop chasing old hacks. They don't work in 2025. Focus on creative messaging and a simple structure, scaling, process, not luck. Okay, so just throw it at the wall and hope that it sticks. I hope that helps, and I'll see you in the next one.